Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasts.
Content warning ahead. This podcast contains very sensitive topics such as missing persons, unsolved cases, haunted houses, and paranormal activity. These type of topics can contain very upsetting, sensitive details and stories. Please listen responsibly. Welcome to Misty Mysteries, a podcast in the business of ghostly spooks and chilling crime. I'm your host, Keely, and today is the third and final part of my multi-part series on the 28-Day Theory and Netflix docuseries 28-Day Haunted. All of the locations I will and have talked about have dark histories and paranormal encounters. Before we get into this dark location, let's do a quick refresh on what the 28-Day Theory is. The 28-Day Theory is created by Ed and Lorraine Warren, based on how they found hauntings took place in their paranormal cases. The theory is that for a paranormal investigator to fully investigate a haunted location, they would need to stay at the place for 28 days to fully pierce the veil and help the spirits or residents of the home. After the Warrens' passing, their son-in-law Tony Spira has taken over their work and legacy in the paranormal community, including their work to prove this theory, which they never got to do before their passing. To continue the research on this theory, Tony has worked with Netflix and Aaron Sagers to bring us the docuseries 28-Day Haunted. This series follows 3 teams at 3 haunted locations, rarely investigated. The 3 teams are put into these locations with no communication to the outside world and no information on the location or what they should be doing other than trying to connect with the spirits of the home. In part 1, I talk about the Lumber Baron Inn. In part 2, I talk about Captain Grant's Inn, which I recommend you check out if you haven't. But today, I'll talk about the Madison dry goods store.
Hey there, Ghoul Fiends. It's Ash from Creepy Tapas. If you know me, you know I love to spend countless hours browsing independent businesses, putting things in my shopping cart that I only buy once a year when I spend all of my money supporting all of your businesses. Well, I found the cutest little online shop on Etsy called Wick of the Wood. Wick of the Wood specializes in unique accent candles with an inventory that consists of one-of-a-kind handmade candles that can fit in a variety of spaces and aesthetics. Wick of the Wood always has their eye out for new candle molds, thrifted containers, and other inspiration. The idea that everyone can have a candle that fits whatever quirky space they need inspires Wick of the Wood to think outside the candle mold and make any idea you might have a reality. Since she was a little girl, the owner has always dreamt of having a little shop where she could sell her handmade items. Under the watchful eye of her dog, she lovingly hand makes each item, packages them, and mails them to you from Seattle, Washington. But you don't have to take it from me. Here are some testimonials from several happy Wick of the Wood customers. Susie says, 5 stars.
I've ordered from this shop, and every time it's an amazing experience. Everything smells amazing, and the packaging is always so cute and functional. This is my favorite candle shop.
Tandra also gives Wick of the Wood 5 stars.
These are so cool. I only burned 3 so I could keep 1 for show.
Another 5 stars from Dwar, who says,
The seller is so kind. Beautifully packaged, the candles smell and look amazing. Bought it for my bestie roomie and she loves it. Thank you, and thank you for the freebies too.
Ooh, freebies. Those are just a few of the amazing reviews over at Wick of the Wood. I ordered a few for Christmas and I cannot wait to smell them and give them as gifts. Guess what you're getting for Christmas?
A
Wick
candle.
of the Wood. I'm especially excited about these adorable poison apple candles. They are so freaking adorable and spooky. I love it. You can check out Wick of the Wood at Etsy.com, shop Wick of the Wood. Follow Wick of the Wood on Twitter at Wick of the Wood. Wick of the Wood. Really neat candles. Check them out. Wick of the Wood. You really should. They're on Etsy. Hey, hey, hey.
Give them a sniff.
In 1908, in Madison, North Carolina, the building we now know as the Madison Dry Goods Store was built on 104 West Murphy Street. This building has been a hotel, a hardware store, a funeral home, and now a dry goods store / museum. Most famously, the upstairs was home to the T.B. Knight Funeral Parlor, which is now a museum for the horrible crime connected to this funeral home. The horrible crime took place on December 25th, 1929, in Germantown, North Carolina, not too far from Madison. The Lawson family was a fairly large family consisting of 43-year-old father and tobacco farmer Charles Lawson, his wife and mother to his 7 children, 37-year-old Franny Lawson, their 7 children, 17-year-old Marie, 16-year-old Arthur, 12-year-old Carrie, 7-year-old Maybelle, 4-year-old James, 2-year-old Raymond, and 4-month-old Mary Lou. For a farming family in the 1920s, December 25th being Christmas wasn't a huge celebration, but it was still a special day. It started off with the oldest daughter, Marie, waking up early to bake and ice a 2-layered cake for her family's festivities. The oldest son, Arthur, was sent by his dad to town to get shotgun shells for their Christmas rabbit hunt, and 2 of the middle girls, Carrie and Maybelle, were off to visit their aunt and uncle. We know now that Carrie and Maybelle never made it to their aunt and uncles that day. Christmas morning of 1929, Charles hid behind the tobacco barn waiting for Carrie and Maybelle, and when his 2 daughters got close enough, he took their lives using his shotgun. He then headed to the family's home where he took the life of Franny, who was sitting on the porch. Then he moved inside the home, taking the lives of Marie, who was trying to hide her younger brothers. But sadly, the boys couldn't hide, and Charles took the lives of James and toddler Raymond, and baby Mary Lou. After he committed these horrible crimes, Charles laid his family down in the home with pillows under their heads and their arms crossed over their chest. Charles then went into the nearby woods, while Arthur had returned home to find his family in this state. Hours after the police, along with the unwanted crowd, came to aid him, a shot rang out from the woods. Arthur and the police followed the sound of the shot to find that Charles had taken his own life, leaving behind 2 notes without any explanation as to why he did this horrible thing. The family's death had not only taken a toll on the surviving son, but left the community in shock. The 8 deceased Lawson family members, including Charles, were taken to the T.B. Knight Funeral Parlor. Now, there were definitely funeral homes closer, but the T.B. Knight Funeral Parlor was chosen because of its capacity to hold all 8 family members and the need for an elevator, which this building had. The T.B. Knight Funeral Parlor and community never forgot the tragedy of the Lawson family. Throughout all of its changes, owners of the building told their story till the building was bought by Richard and Kathleen Miller in 1998, who turned it into the dry goods store, creating a museum upstairs where the funeral parlor once was, including coffins and newspaper clippings about the Lawson family. Since then, the new owners have had reports of visitors and employees seeing a young girl in a white dress. One day, Richard Miller was waiting for a maintenance man leaving the shop closed for the day, but when the man arrived, he asked Richard if he had his little girl with him, since he could see her standing in the upstairs window from the street. Visitors at the dry goods store also witnessed and experienced pictures and objects moving throughout the building. And lastly, there's a very eerie feeling like you aren't alone. The dry goods store that is currently being used as a store and museum does not offer up the place for paranormal teams often, but for Netflix, they agreed to shut down for 28 days. Which takes us to our 28-day haunted series, where we meet our team of 2 for this location.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Our first person in this team is Brandy Miller. She is a psychic medium for this team. Brandy's specialties is connecting loved ones with their loved ones who have passed away, uncovering history, and working with police to solve unsolved crimes. She tries to stay away from dark entities, but that is the opposite of what she's gonna get in this 28-day cycle. So it's probably a good thing that she was partnered with Jeremy Leonard. Jeremy is by day a firefighter in Louisiana, but for over a decade, by night, he has been a paranormal investigator and demonologist. These two make an interesting team for the 28-day cycle, and honestly, right off the bat, things are pretty intense. They are shown the dry goods store. Brandy gets this image of two little kids giggling, running around a woman standing at the top of the stairs. As they begin to explore inside, Brandy feels the woman following them around the store, and pretty quickly they make two findings. The first was a picture of the family. This picture had both of the kids Brandy had seen and the woman in it. They then find a coffin set up in the upstairs, and they figure out that this place had been a funeral home at one point. Finding the coffin and the pictures of the family, which we know is the Lawson family, the two of them come to the conclusion that something tragic must have happened with this family, and they have a connection to these coffins. So, Jeremy comes up with this amazing idea that night, Brandy was going to lay in the coffin during their investigation and try to trigger the spirits in the building. To do this safely, they had to move the coffin down onto the floor, and then they set up REM pods around her to pick up any changes in the electromagnetic field. Then Jeremy began to read from the Bible as if it was Brandy's funeral service. When this starts, Brandy feels a woman standing by her head, and then she begins to feel a male energy around her. She then starts to see blood covering beds, and the REM pods start to go off. She then feels something touch her head, and knowing something bad happened to this family, she freaks out, ending the first night of investigation. The next day we see them is day 5. On this day, she explains what she felt while in that coffin. She explains that she could feel the daughter from the picture, and she could feel she was depressed, shocked, and hurt. And she knew pretty early on their mission is going to be helping the family she had been communicating with from the time that she looked at the dry goods store. On day 5, we see another investigation, and Brandy, using her medium abilities, starts to call the daughter forward while sitting in a sort of meditative state. While sitting trying to communicate with the daughter, she shares what she is hearing from the daughter. The first thing she hears from the Lawson daughter is, "We had to pretend to be happy." She then heard her say, "Baby, secret," and then, "I told my dad, he went upstairs, then blood." While she was sitting there communicating with the daughter, Brandy began to get a calling towards the attic, where she feels a negative energy coming down the stairs that she believes is connected to the father, and they move the investigation in there. Up in the attic, Brandy sits with her back against the wall, and Jeremy is facing her with his back to the stairs. Brandy feels like the daughter is sitting with her up there, and she is shown the image of getting shot, with feelings of children wanting to run, but they can't. And she picks up that the family was killed by their father. She is then being told to get out by something she said is not human, and Jeremy hears something coming up the stairs. The last thing Brandy is shown by the daughter was the daughter pregnant, right before she feels something not human and negative in the attic, sending her running out to get away from it. From the investigation on night 5, Brandy, using her abilities, picked up on the Lawson father killing his family, but she believes he did this because his daughter was pregnant, even claiming that he fathered his daughter's baby. I want to say that when the murders happened, there were rumors spread by newspapers that Marie could have been pregnant, but never was it really brought up that her father was assaulting her till Brandy's claim in the 28-day cycle. I think it's important to know facts, and the facts is that there really hasn't been any history to prove Marie was pregnant or pregnant by her own father. Jumping back to our team at the dry goods store, we jump from night 5 to night 10. And we jump a lot of days. So on this day, we see Brandy sitting at the table with Jeremy. At this moment, we learn that Brandy is having a really hard time staying in the store because she cannot sleep and she's mentally exhausted. At the table, she tells Jeremy, "You know how hard it is to try and sleep in here when you hear talking constantly and then footsteps." Exhausted and struggling to connect with anyone, Brandy wants to go back up to the viewing room during this investigation and hopes that she can connect to the mother of this family. So night 10 investigation, they head back to the viewing room and set up REM pods just like the night 1 investigation. Jeremy then begins to pray to help the human spirits in the home feel comfortable and give them the space to step forward, hopefully keeping the dark energy away from Brandy this time. As he is doing this, Brandy is able to start her investigation in the viewing room, and this night I think it was smart that they set up the REM pods because while Brandy is talking to the spirits of the building, she is able to ask questions and get responses through the lights on the REM pod to confirm that she is talking to the mother spirit and having an intelligent interaction. As we are seeing this intelligent interaction with the mother and Brandy is shown by the mother her children's little coffins, and she is shown her daughter when she asks her why they were killed. But Brandy soon begins to feel like someone is strangling her or attacking her. Brandy, for her own safety, gets herself out of this situation, cutting off the investigation. We then see them again on night 15. We are straight into the investigation. Brandy's goal is to go after the Lawson family father, this night with REM pods in a spirit box. At this point, Brandy is still exhausted from lack of sleep, leaving her in a very vulnerable state, but Jeremy wants to try to provoke the spirit of the father and dark entity with prayers. During his provoking, Brandy is starting to feel sick, and he stops provoking to pray over Brandy. While he is praying over her, through the spirit box, we hear something say, "Get her." And this night just blows up because hearing this, Brandy is scared. She's going to bring something home to her family, and upset, she goes outside and she is talking to the Netflix producers, and she's ready to walk away from this experiment. She finally shares that she does not want to sleep upstairs anymore because of how strong the energy is up there and what has happened when she is alone. So she gets Jeremy to agree to bring the beds downstairs and sleep downstairs with her. This was the only way that she was going to stay because her exhaustion was just making her so vulnerable to the spirits in the store. Days later, on night 18, after Brandy was finally able to get sleep and get into a better headspace, the two are ready to begin investigating again with another spirit box session and hope to talk to the father again. During this spirit box session, a lot of loud footsteps are heard coming from outside the room and upstairs in the attic. When they ask who's walking in the attic, they hear Charlie from the spirit box 2 separate times. Jeremy then gets a headache and the word out is heard from the spirit box. Another loud noise is heard from another room, and Jeremy wants to try provoking the father, who they are now calling Charlie, and during this provoking, Jeremy's pain is getting worse as he just starts yelling at Brandy to get out. We see Brandy running down the stairs saying, "I know," and then we are cut to day 20. On day 20, we see Jeremy and Brandy struggling to continue their 28-day cycle, this time because Jeremy's behavior and personality has changed a lot. Since this headache on night 18, Jeremy has no energy, all he wants to do is sleep, he keeps writing out the phrase, "troubles can cause," and he keeps getting angry, yelling, and starting fights with Brandy. This goes into day 21, where we see Jeremy saying to Brandy, "You're scared, I'm going to snap and kill you," when she's checking in on him. Brandy begins to believe that Jeremy may be possessed or on the verge of it, and she is starting to believe that maybe whatever is affecting Jeremy is what made Charles, but they're calling him Charlie, hurt his family. I'm not a fan of this narrative personally because it excuses Charles for taking the life of his children and wife. But we're talking about Brandy, who decided with this idea that she's going to do a solo box session while Jeremy was in bed. Brandy, during the session, asks Charlie if a dark spirit made him hurt his family. Through the spirit box, we hear yes, an evil. Brandy, hearing this, immediately goes downstairs where she tells Jeremy that she believes he is possessed, and when he hears this, all he says is sweet rock and roll. Brandy is not only worried for Jeremy, but herself, and she asks to speak to a producer alone outside. Because of her concern for safety, an exception is made for the team at the Madison dry goods store. Brandy is able to have a video meeting with someone outside of the cycle named Trudy Smith. She is a historian and expert on the Lawson family murders. Now again, this is a narrative I don't like, and I'm going to keep saying it, but Trudy confirms some facts for Brandy, like the fact that Jeremy is acting like Charlie, or Charles. Charles was depressed before he took the lives of his family with headaches, and she shares with Brandy that when he was found dead, he had a note on him that just said, "Troubles can cause." After this meeting, Brandy sits with Jeremy and tells him about her findings, and he overall just seems annoyed with her, and he starts to yell at her that he has a headache. After some time apart, thinking about what Brandy said, Jeremy wants to try to block out the evil they believe is affecting him and talk to Charlie using the God helmet. So the God helmet, I have seen it only used once before. This was by Nick Groff on Portals to Hell inside the basement of Bobby Mackey's. It was very intense, and it's a very intense looking piece of equipment. And being honest, I'm not a paranormal expert. I do tell paranormal stories, but I'm not a paranormal expert. So I don't know exactly how it works. So according to the internet, it was created by a man named Stanley Coren as a religious experience that stimulates the temporal lobes by using low-intensity electromagnetic fields, and many who have used it claim to have sensed some type of entity while using it. So on night 24 is when we see Jeremy and Brandy head up to the attic with this God helmet that Jeremy has. Brandy is watching Jeremy as he sits on the floor using the God helmet, but it's not long till he starts to have trouble breathing and is physically cold to the touch. Jeremy rips the helmet off of him in a panic and runs downstairs, where the production team makes the decision to rush Jeremy to the emergency room because of his severe symptoms. At 7:18 a.m. on day 25, after a long night, Jeremy pulls up to the dry goods stores. Brandy, who was up all night worried, was finally able to relax when she saw him, and she asked him if he was okay. This is when Jeremy told her that some things are better left off not spoken, but he does believe he broke free from the attachment. That night, Jeremy had heart attack symptoms, but all the tests done by the doctor showed no reason for these symptoms. Jeremy tells Brandy that he understands what Charlie felt and wants to banish this evil entity. A few days of rest and time to recover later, day 28 is what the Warrens called the last battle. That night, Brandy and Jeremy were set with the goal to banish the evil spirit and help the Lawson family move on from this location. That night, Jeremy starts off the night with prayer. It's accompanied by a loud thump in the attic and a woman's voice asking for help. And as Jeremy is praying, items start to fly off the shelves towards him. Then Brandy sees a shadow figure, and the last push from the entity reacting to this prayer opens the attic door and slams it shut. We see them again on day 29, the last day. Before leaving, Brandy connects with the family to thank them, and she feels like the place is lighter than when they came in. But they both shared, leaving the Madison dry goods store, that they feel they had learned to push past their own fears and help the spirits. Before truly ending their 28-day cycle, though, Brandy and Jeremy visited the graves of the Lawson family, and of course, being the last scene, Brandy says, "At least we know the demons have been banished," only to cut to Jeremy making an evil smirk to the camera. As for Tony and Aaron, they feel like this 28-day cycle was the most powerful and total success, allowing Jeremy to banish the demon in the dry goods store. They are happy overall to see that each investigation felt successful, improving the 28-day cycle. But of course, more would have to be done, leaving it open for a second season. And I don't think this would be the end of a 3-part series without an update on everyone involved. For the Madison dry goods store, Brandy is using her abilities to connect to loved ones that have lost loved ones. She's traveling the country to uncover history in different places and is still aiding in missing persons cases. She is a member of the Detroit Paranormal Expeditions and has stories featured on different forms of media. Jeremy is now the author of a book called The Dwelling, an Evil Entity. He is the co-host of a travel channel show called The Ghost of Morgan City and just enjoying his life with his small cute pup, wife, and stepdaughter. For the Lumber Baron Inn, Shane Pittman has been working as a paranormal investigator. He is one of the leading investigators on the show The Holzer Files and part of a group that aims to find answers to paranormal activity. Shane, as a huge fan of technology, has a goal to uncover the secrets of paranormal through advancements in science and technology. Ray Causey is still working as an investigator, working in the same group as Shane, both spending time with his family and enjoying raising his kids. Amy Parks, the sensitive of this group, prefers to be a lot more private and not much is known about what she has been up to. As for the Captain Grant's Inn, Sean Austin, the medium of the group, is also a demonologist. He has been in many shows such as The Demon Files and Ghost Loop. He has also been a part of a different documentary on Discovery Plus instead of Netflix called Devil Down South, and he has published a book called Shadow Chasers, all about his paranormal experiences. Lastly, as busy as he is, he also travels the country to help people struggling with spirits in their lives. Aaron Thompson is still researching the afterlife, like he has been since literally the year I was born in 1999. He attends paranormal events to give speeches when he can, and of course, he is still investigating with Nick Simmons, probably my favorite from this whole series. The two of them even work together on Aaron's YouTube channel, Ghost Crier PI. Nick is more of a private person, but you can always see him with Aaron on YouTube. As for Misty Mysteries, at least for the moment, this is the end of the 28-Day Haunted 3-part series. I think this was a very interesting topic. That's why I made it 3 parts. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you do enjoy it or Misty Mysteries, you can help me out by sharing the podcast or leaving good reviews where you like to listen. For now, I will see you next time for Misty Mysteries' last episode of a very long season 1 in a very long year.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.